You're listening to Rod and Style Radio, the latest podcast brought to you by rodandstyle.com, which is where you can find links for merch, videos from our YouTube channel, along with stories and tech talk from some of the greatest folks in the culture. So grab the wheel, it's about to get wild. You've tuned in to Rod and Style. Welcome to another episode of Rod and Style Radio. This is your host, Lane. Sam is not joining us on tonight's episode because she is stuck at work. But for those of y'all that have been listening to the Kustom Couple podcast, you know this is something that happens pretty often. So today we are hanging out with Chadillac and Mike, hanging out in the garage on a phone call with us. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Hey, man.
So, I've been talking with Scratch since we started this whole endeavor, and he was telling us about the show that y'all have coming up in, is it June, I believe?
Yep, June 11th.
June 11th, and that is the PreWar Pile Up. If y'all haven't checked that out yet, folks, we've shared it a couple times on our pages, but tell us a little bit about how this show got started and where y'all came up with the idea for it.
Well, a few years ago, we started going to the Race of Gentlemen in New Jersey, and we really liked the aura of the show and it being all the early cars, so we decided, because we didn't have anything around in Oklahoma that was close, because Oklahoma to New Jersey is about 28 hours, I think it is.
Ooh.
So we decided that if anything was going to be cool in Oklahoma for us to be able to hit, then we needed to put it on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, either move somewhere cool or make it happen here. So we decided to try to make it happen here.
Yeah.
Where in Oklahoma is it going to be at?
It's right outside of Tulsa. It's in Catoosa, right on Route 66.
Oh, nice.
Probably about 20 minutes outside of Tulsa.
Okay, yeah, that's cool being right there on Route 66. Have a little bit of the nostalgia feel to it there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's real close to the Hard Rock Cafe, too.
Oh, nice. So people would definitely have a spot to go to and hang out afterwards. I like that.
Yeah.
And so tell us what got you into like the old style, the traditional built hot rods. Is this something you grew up in?
For me, no. My dad had a 39 Chevy when I was a kid, and I just kind of fell in love with cars in general. But the really, for me, the traditional hot rod is just really the kind of the core of hot rodding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's kind of where it started. So it's kind of the whole antiquated part of the cars and how mechanical they are is kind of the draw for us, because we're kind of mechanically minded guys. So that kind of, we feed off of that. And it's kind of just really neat to make that stuff work and see how they put it together back then.
Yeah, definitely. The Race of the Gentlemen, like you brought up earlier, has always been something that I've wanted to go to. We have not been able to make it out to. I think they do it one in New Jersey, and then they were doing one on the West Coast as well. And neither one of them I've been able to make it out to, but it always just looks so cool in pictures, and I love the fact that people will put together something that's traditionally built and then go try to run the wheels off of it as best they can on the beach, and it just looks so cool. So I love the fact that something's happening a little bit closer to home, because I mean we're down here in Texas, so Oklahoma's not too bad of a trip up that direction. But the whole idea, like what you said, being able to throw together, these things that were done, 60, 70, 80 years ago, and see how they did it, what they were working with, and what are the parameters on what's going to be allowed into the show?
All the cars have to be pre 1945 and earlier. And we've doing the drivetrain is 54 and earlier. and so that kind of includes mostly flatheads and everything. It takes out the small block Chevy basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably the biggest engine you're gonna probably have out there would be maybe a Y block or a nailhead, maybe.
No, let's see. Y block started in '54 actually.
Yeah.
So you could run an early Olds overhead valve or Cadillac.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So 303 Olds, 324 Olds, you could run those no problem. 331 Cadillac. But your transmission is going to be limited to either a Hydromatic, which came out in the GMs, or the early Ford, 3-speeder.
Yeah.
Or the early 3-speed stuff. So
I would imagine your most popular is going to be the flathead. That's probably what you're going to see a lot of, because that's what we've seen mostly. And when people do a hopped up traditional jalopy of some sort, it's going to be either flathead driven or a nailhead. And I think going pre-54, I think the nailhead you're limited to a 322. I think that was the one, the Buicks for 53 and 54. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think I'm really stoked to see the pictures that come out of this, because I think y'all are gonna have some really cool stuff showing up out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome. I think it's gonna be really cool. We've actually had to turn away some really cool cars, and it's been hard, but we've been encouraged by a lot of people to stick with the rules and kind of stick to it. So I think it'll be really cool.
What the venue that you're having the event at, are y'all able to have spectator parking separate from the car show? I mean, I would imagine you'd need to, because not everybody's going to have a cool ride. Yeah,
actually, it's at Rogers Point Park, which is kind of across the street from the Blue Whale on Route 66.
Okay.
And it's a pretty large park, so we have plenty of room for spectators to park. Regular spectator parking will be $10 a car. Then we've had a lot of our friends that have asked us about being able to park their old car close to the car show, and we're like, well, if you don't meet the requirements, you can't be in the car show.
Exactly.
But we had such a response to people wanting to bring their old car. We said, let's just do a post-war pile-up area, and that'll basically be front row parking to any old car. They can come in. A guy brings his 51 Merc in. He can drive it in. It's got a small block Chevy, no problem. He gets front row parking to the main car show, and it's $20. So,
that's a good idea too. So you're not completely excluding everybody out of coming to the show. You're still allow folks to come out to the show and still bring your old rides. Because I mean, hell, whatever you're driving, you should be trying to drive it daily or at least on the weekends. Sure. So,
that was one of the hardest parts about coming up with the rules, is that we realized pretty quickly the rules we wanted to use eliminated 95% of our friends.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough to do some of the stuff like that. We've tried to do like hot rod hangouts and little just cruise nights and stuff like that before, and you want to stick to certain genres. But then the guy that shows up with his, 70s, square body wants to ride with you, and you're like, it doesn't really fit, but who are we to exclude you? So come on,
And we've got a little bit of ridicule on the rules, people telling us, well, good luck with that. Well, this is what we want. This is the cars that we want at our show. We don't want the Mustang Club, to bring their 1980s Mustangs and line them up with the hood up. We just don't want that.
No, absolutely. So, I totally get that. I saw a funny picture the other day, and it was like the 70s Mustang, and it was like it was like an award for the ugliest car ever made. And then the brand new Mustang was like coming up on it. It was all about to take that award away from him.
I believe it.
Yeah, no, it's terrible looking. I saw one driving into Austin. I think we went up to Austin on last Sunday or something, and one of the new Mustangs was in front of us, and I was like, that is just god awful looking. But that's me, folks. I'm not a fan.
We not either. Those are parts.
Love it. So, yeah, I always tell people when talking about how getting into cars and the different walks of life of people that have what people's stories are. Personally, I tell everybody I didn't grow up in cars. My dad worked in an office, and cars was the last thing on his mind. I got into working on cars because being in music and seeing hot rods show up to the venues that my band was playing at. I always ended up wanting one. So, what got y'all into into old cars? You said your dad had a 39 when you were growing up.
Yeah, when I was a little bitty, my dad bought one before I was born, and got it running as I was young, and then sold it about, I think, when I was 5. But I just fell in love with it, and then he bought another car after that, and took him a long time to fix it up. But I just was always looking for cars when I was riding the bus going to school. I was looking for them in the trees, and
Yep.
I would pretty much eat up with it.
Yeah, a lot of people that rode the school bus, people that didn't ride the school bus didn't have that advantage of being able to see over the fences and see into some of the people's backyards. Because I remember riding the school bus to school, all 15 years. Wait, 12 years I went to school.
Years.
Being able to see into some of those backyards. I think one of the first, it was my first truck was sitting in my dad's best friend's backyard, and I had seen it a lot as a kid. And his son was older than I was. Fixed it up in college, and then left to go start a career. And I ended up buying that truck, and I saw that truck ever since I was a kid, sitting in their backyard. And dude, the amount of cars that people don't see because they never get put on the road, oh man, I've seen a bunch.
Oh yeah, there's bunches out there still. Even
there's a lot of cars in garages around the neighborhoods that you don't even know are there.
Right.
Yep.
Oh man, and then my folks now, they live up in Northeast Texas, up kind of close to where y'all are at, on Lake Fork, and the amount of, they're kind of rural, so all the houses are 5 acres apart from each other. And you just see this stuff sitting in fields, and you're like, man, that would make a really cool fucking it's a little something, hot rod or something. But no, it's sitting in there in the field, just rusting out.
Yeah.
So y'all get a lot of that up there in Oklahoma?
Yeah, we're pickers actually also. So.
Oh, nice.
That kind of feeds the need,
Yep.
But we come across a lot of old cars out that you are kind of surprised. You can drive around town and not see hardly anything, and go out in the country and see them left and right.
Oh, I know. And the amount of old pickup trucks you could be picking up right now for next to nothing. The prices are starting to go up on them now.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a little bit to do with TV, but we'll
yeah.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
So this year is going to be y'all's first year of doing the pre-war pile up. Is that right?
Yep.
So we're gonna see how this one goes. Are y'all hoping to do this on a regular basis and make it an annual show, and just or is this just something you just want to do one time and have a big blowout and see the coolest thing happen right up front?
Well, we've never done a car show before, so we recently took over the Tulsa swap meet also, and that was quite a bit of work to get that lined out and get it working really well. So this is a completely different animal because there's not a lot of money coming in, to pay for everything. So a lot of it's just coming out of our pockets. So once the car show's over with, we'll know whether we want to do it again or not.
Yeah. On June 12th, you can ask that question again.
Right. We'll do a follow-up episode to see how everything went, and then let our listeners know that okay, next year it is happening again because it was a huge success. We're gonna say it right now on the show, folks. It will be a huge success. Do y'all have sponsors or any vendors that are gonna be out at this show?
We're gonna have a small swap meet area.
Okay.
We're gonna allow people to set up and sell car parts, and it's not gonna be any specific size. It's gonna be $100 a space, and just use what you need because we have so much land out there at the park. So there's plenty of room for if you need to have a truck and trailer there, to sell parts. As far as other vendors with new parts, we don't really have anybody lined up. Sponsors, we have Stromberg has donated some parts. Goliath Shocks have donated some stuff, and Frenzel Blowers have donated some stuff. And then we have a few odds and ends from individuals that we're going to try to give away also. So it's basically just going to be kind of a let's hang out and have a cool car show.
Very cool. Will there be any sort of awards or anything like that, or is it strictly just show and shine and hang out?
No, we're going to have a few awards. We've got like Scratch is going to do his own trophy and do his pick. We have I think the guys from Hot Rod Garage in Sand Springs, which is close by, I think they're going to build a trophy for us and do their own pick and bring a couple cars out. And then we have a few other guys that are going to do it also. So. Yeah,
the Early Ford V8 Club of Tulsa is going to do one. And Nick from Stray Cat, they do a pretty cool car show every year. They're going to do one too. So it'd be kind of cool.
The Stray Cat car show, that one just happened recently, didn't it?
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah. That I still haven't made it to that one either. And just seeing pictures from years past, absolutely a really cool show that will probably be on the list for the Kustom couple in 2023. We're already making our list of all the events we want to try to make it out to. So
yeah, it's a great.
Let's see here. I think I keep losing y'all a little bit.
We're here.
There you go. Okay. I don't know why it keeps wanting to mute, but that's Jason's job in editing. No. I don't make our producer work too hard. I just have him go in and fix all the little mess ups here and there. Some of it we just leave in there because it's funny, because it makes me have to stay on my toes a little bit more. And then our regulars, they always send me messages on Instagram or whatever. Hey, I heard this week's episode and you really screwed it up. Good job.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. We've had nothing but really, really good feedback with the show. So I'm excited for where things are going with the podcast right now. So awesome. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. What to say, we're talking about shows that we've gone to and shows that we want to go to. What are some of the places that y'all have been out trying to promote for y'all's show right now? Have y'all made it out to any car shows this year?
Yeah, we've actually been to a lot of them. We've handed out a bunch of flyers at the Stray Cat last weekend, and like Chad mentioned, we took over the Tulsa Swap Meet, and we have been everywhere handing out flyers. And I don't know, we've just been all over the place, all the swap meets and the car shows and stuff, and just spreading the word. The internet's been awesome too. Facebook and Instagram are amazing for spreading the word on the car show. So,
oh, absolutely. We've run all of the things that we do just basically off of Instagram, and it, for us, it instantly shares it over to Facebook as well. So if it wasn't for those two things, we wouldn't be able to, get half the audience that we do. They've been great for everything that we've been needing to share. What is the Instagram for our listeners so they can go and find y'all's information in case they want to either be at the show or possibly come out with some stuff to sell at the swap meet?
We're on Instagram. It's PreWar Pile Up, and same on Facebook. And our website is prewarpileup.com.
Very cool. Now, one thing that we haven't mentioned yet, what will y'all be driving out to y'all's show?
Well,
Yeah.
we're scrambling right now. We're actually in the shop right now, heating the spindles up and dropping them to get the drag link on my car to fit in there. So I'm putting together a 31 Deluxe Model A Phaeton. It's a 2-door. It's kind of a rare car. They only made less than 7,000 of them in 30 and 31. And so I'm just going to build an old jalopy out of it. And
Nice.
It's coming good. Got the flathead and the 3-speed 39 trans and the 39 Mercury rear axle and all the goodies. Big and little bias plies.
Man, that does sound
no
cool.
radial tires, by the way.
What's that?
Yeah.
No radial tires, by the way.
Oh, okay,
That's one of
yeah.
our requirements.
For the listeners out there, no radials. It's got to be bias ply.
No radials. no 15-inch or smaller wheels. They have to be 16-inch or larger. Factory bodies. No alternators. If you do have to run an aluminum radiator, it needs to be painted black.
There you
So-
go. That's one way
All-
around it.
Yep. All the requirements are actually on the registration page on the website. So
Very cool. Like I said earlier, I'm just stoked to see what shows up at y'all's show this year because it just looks so cool when you have a whole mess of traditional built cars, and it's just like I honestly I get tired of scrolling through social media and seeing 20-inch rims on old cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating a little bit, folks.
yeah, absolutely. Especially when you don't want to see that.
No, absolutely not. The wife and I, we typically lean more towards like the custom cars. Love a chopped shoebox and Mercs, and my wife, she drives the '59 Buick, and it's it's on airbags, and it's custom, right, with a K.
Oh yeah.
And to each their own, but that's just what we typically liked. And forever I've always wanted a Model A, and I've always loved to have one either flathead driven or with a nail head in it, either one. So when I see shows like what y'all are trying to put on, and I just get excited about man, like what are some of the ideas of people that are building cars today? How are they gonna do it and still keep it traditional? And it's tougher to do now because the parts, I would imagine, are just getting harder and harder to get a hold of.
Yeah, we're trying to use, like, I bet we probably have 98% original parts. I mean, we're not using very, very little new parts are we using other than, belts or radiator hoses, tires, that kind of stuff. But
Sure.
most everything just old original parts,
Even the nuts and bolts we're reusing and using the nuts with the cotter pins and all that stuff, and it's kind of insane actually.
No, I've got a few friends in the car clubs here that they love picking through the swap meets and finding like vintage racing parts, and you find really cool, one-off kind of, prototype stuff, and they just get so excited about it. So I bet you're going to have a few folks show up to the show, and, they might have an intake that, maybe only 5 were ever made in the whole world. Things like that always, interest me, finding old vintage race parts and
Oh yeah.
Just like, who made this? Like, it was like, because I mean, a lot of the times it wasn't companies making things like that. It was engineers in their own garage trying to hop up what they had.
Yep. A guy working on his car after work.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm interested to see some things like that if anybody brings it out. Now, it is just a car show, right? Is there any sort of racing or anything like that going on extracurricular?
No. On Friday, we're actually going to start at about 2:00 and do a reliability run down Route 66, and we have a few stops to hit. We're stopping at the Blue Whale, Buck Adams, Cosmic Curios, and then we have a friend in Sapulpa that has the old Ford dealership that he's restored and made it into a kind of a Route 66 attraction. So we're gonna do that on Friday, and then on Saturday will be the car show.
Nice. Do you already have a meetup scheduled for Friday, or are you still in the planning stages for that?
We're still kind of working it out completely. We're going to try to, we have to try to beat the Friday 5:00 traffic. So.
Oh, of course. Down here in San Antonio, we know all about that.
Oh yeah, I bet you do. Information on the website pretty soon.
Okay, yeah. So our listeners can go check out the website and keep up to date with what's going on there, because it sounds like if you're going to be involved with the show, you might want to make it out to the reliability run. That sounds like it would be just as much fun, if not more. I always love when people drive their stuff. There's been a couple times where we've had to trailer Sam's car going somewhere, and I hate that. It sometimes it's a necessity, but I hate that. I love when people can drive their stuff and drive it long distances.
Yeah, probably most likely most people that register will not drive their car there, because with the early transmissions, it would take a while to get there. But we do have room for trailer parking. So.
Okay, yeah, you said you got a pretty good space available. So yeah, I mean, you're probably right, because not having overdrive and trying to hang out on the highway is two different animals there.
Yeah. Air conditioning and satellite radio. That don't go together with Model A or hot rod usually.
We've got guys coming from Pennsylvania. We're at Minnesota.
Oh, that
Idaho.
Is so cool.
There's a large group of guys coming from Texas.
Yeah.
Texas guys are really showing out.
So that's a pretty long haul for some of them. So I'm sure they're going to come in on a trailer. Most of them.
Yeah, I would imagine, and you can, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but thinking about everybody I know in the Texas area that would be into this, you're probably going to get some of the guys from the Demons Car Club and the Rivieras. Most likely coming out of the Houston area, I would think, because that's a few of those guys that I'm friends with. They've made it up to Race of the Gentleman, and this is kind of their thing. Like, they love that vintage racing feel to it, and that's what they've built their cars to be able to do. So I would think that some of them are going to try to make it up there. Of course, Scratch is going to be out there hanging out with you, so that's always cool.
Yeah.
So
I think he's building a Model T. He's splitting a Model T. I think it's a small roadster body. He's splitting it down and making it a single seater.
I think I did see him. He was doing a couple videos about that here just a couple months ago when they started that project.
Yeah. He'd cut it right down the middle with his cutoff wheel.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be wild. Then I'm interested to see how that comes out.
Yeah.
So tell us, guys, what else have y'all got on the plans for this year after the show, and y'all can take a breath? Do you have any other shows that y'all want to go out and be spectators at?
Yeah, we've got a full schedule. Of course, the swap meets are in full swing too, so we'll be all over that. But we're going to go to our big trip every year is we go hit Carlisle swap meet, then the Race of Gentlemen, and then we hit Hershey swap meet for 3 or 4 days. So that's a 2-week trip for us. And then I think we're planning on going to the Pine Tree Jamboree in Maine, believe it or not, all the way from Oklahoma in August.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a trip and a half.
Yeah, we've got some friends that put that on, and they have invited us to come out. And when they invite us, you just go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have those friends too that it's like, hey, we're doing this, and it's like, just say no more. I'm there.
Yeah.
You said it's the Pine Tree Jamboree.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look that one up. That sounds interesting. I've never met anybody car related out of Maine, so I need to do that.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
We met a lot of these guys just going up to the Race of Gentlemen there in New Jersey. There's a lot, of course, obviously East Coast, but there's a lot of those guys, New York guys, and Maine, and Connecticut, Pennsylvania. We've met a lot of good guys up there just going to that show, and met a lot of lifetime friends. So it's pretty cool.
That's really cool, and I would imagine there's a big car scene going on the East Coast that's getting more recognized now. I think now, just because social media is just blown up so crazy. When in the 90s and everything, when TV started coming out, everybody had a TV show on the West Coast. So everybody thought that everything came from California. But, now that everything's kind of like, you can't go anywhere without a camera on somebody's phone. There's no place anywhere now that's not under surveillance.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's becoming the bigger car groups that you're finding on the East Coast now are becoming more popular. And I've met a ton of folks out of New Jersey and New York. But Maine, I haven't met anybody, so that's why I'm saying I got to add that to my list. That way I can start getting on places where I can sleep on a couch when I need to.
Yeah, who do I know in Maine?
Exactly. I mean, hell, when I started my old podcast, that's how I was able to go to the car shows that were in like Houston and Dallas. I would drive to Dallas and then be like, people would recognize the logos from my show and then be like, hey, I got a couch you can stay on. And I did that several times. So that's how I've got some really good friends that I'm still friends with today, just because of doing, going to the car shows and being able to do that. You meet some of the coolest people. The car guys and girls are some of the coolest people you'll ever meet in your life.
They're the best.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Lifelong, friendships get made at car shows. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But folks, if you would like to throw some shout outs to some of the people that have helped y'all along the way and getting the word out for the PreWar Pile
Up. We've had a lot of help from Part Swapper on Instagram. That's East Coast Mike. He's helped us quite a bit. He's reposted a bunch of our stuff. Scratch has helped. Cheater Slick Culture, Model T Obsession. Chuck over there, Rod and Style. All those guys have been helping us quite a bit, so that's been real helpful.
Absolutely, and it's because of all those guys that we're being able to produce this podcast and be able to put it out to the world. So yeah, big thanks to everybody at in the whole Rod and Style family for being able to put all this kind of stuff on for us, because getting the word out to get in these shows, we have seen so many of the car shows that have really dwindled down over the years, and it kind of became boring. And then when COVID hit, nobody was able to go out anymore.
Yeah.
And now, post COVID, people are getting cabin fever and wanting to get out again. We're seeing a lot of new car shows come up in the ranks, and we've been out to a couple here in the Texas area that a brand new first year, and they're just getting crazy amounts of participation, both with car entries and bike entries and vendors, and it just, everybody wants to come out and be out and have a good time again. And I think y'all, for doing this, being y'all's first year, I do think it'll be a success. I think the timing is perfect for it. I think the venue is great for it. Having space for a car show is huge. People will try to put on events and don't have any space to do it, and it just flops. So your venue sounds like it'll be an amazing spot to be at, and I think y'all are putting on something really cool and nostalgic. So hats off to y'all for doing this. I really
thank you.
Can't wait to see what comes of it.
Well, we hope to kind of get the traditional bug going. It's kind of, in the car world, it's kind of a small niche, in that group, so we're hoping to get that kind of going a little bit more. It
is a real specific, small niche. But I think it will photograph wonderfully. I think the people that will come out, that will bring out their hot rods that don't fit the criteria and still be able to drive their car and park it and hang out, they're gonna have fun. They're gonna see some cool things and see the way some of this stuff got built in the early days. And somebody might go home from this show and decide that they want to do one. I mean, that's always I love that fact about a lot of these shows. It's like it gives people motivation to do cool things, and that's huge. That's the main thing, is to get people motivated, get these cars back. Absolutely. I really think what y'all are doing is great. I think it'll play out really well. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens with the pre-war pile up. Folks, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please go to, for one, you should subscribe to it so you can get notified every time that a new episode comes out. But please go and rate and review it, because that helps out with the metrics of how all of this plays. You can also rate us on Spotify. And really anywhere that you are catching your podcasts from, as long as you subscribe to it, you'll get updated every time we put out a new episode. So you can find us on Instagram. You can find the Kustom Couple on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you're catching news right now. You can be listening to what we're doing. So thank you folks for listening in. And as always, stay wild.